Hey, what's happening, everyone? It is I, the man in the mythical mustache, here with a brand new video for you. Welcome to Season 2, Part 4 of What If My Hero Academia Had a Suicide Squad? Please sit back and relax because you're in for a treat. With that out of the way, let's get this story going, shall we? Overhaul! Eraserhead roared at the top of his lungs as he made a mad dash towards the former head of the Shie Hisakai. Buzzard stepped in front of Plague Raven. However, this was not out of protection, but of a moment of madness, to engage the underground hero. Eraserhead hit a button on the detonator he was given, and Buzzard's collar came on. Immediately, this caused the villain to deflate like someone whose Viagra medication gave out. Azawa then hit Buzzard with his cancel quirk at full blast. Even though this quirk cancellation collar was on, Buzzard could still feel the instant migraine that was now immobilizing him. Eraserhead then deployed his capture weapon, and it wrapped around Buzzard's neck. With a pull, Azawa quickly slid in between the pumped-up villain's legs and pulled. The pumped-up villain was instantly flipped upon his back and caught completely unawares by the action. Azawa then soccer-kicked Buzzard's head, knocking him out. Plague Raven swallowed his fear. This was not the same hero he met during the raid of his former HQ. Azawa turned to face him with his eyes burning with a hatred that was beyond words. The underground hero then unwrapped and called back his capture weapon, his eyes never swaying from his target. A little over 1 year ago, Hitoshi Shinzo was a boy with a single dream, to become a hero. Ever since the age of 6, when his father, Dan Shinzo, was shot in front of him on their way home from the local cinema, his goal had been set in stone for him. It was rare in Japan for anyone to be a victim of a gun violence, but tragically, it did occur, and more so, it happened in front of the young lad. Since his mother died at childbirth, Hitoshi Shinzo was now a ward of the prefecture. Bouncing around from foster home to foster home was not easy. This was mostly because, 1, all the homes he was in were only in it for the government check, so survival of the fittest, and 2, his quirk. Brainwashing. Need I explain? The boy finally found a home at the age of 13 with a local sergeant in the Tokyo PD. She wasn't afraid of him or his quirk, and after so long of bouncing from hellhole to hellhole, Shinzo had finally found a home. A real home. With a woman whom he viewed as his savior, and that earned the coveted title of Mom. Fast forward a little, Shinzo got accepted into the hero program of UA via rescue points and the practical. His mom celebrated along with him at her precinct. The boy was considered by the Force to be one of their own. It was on the first day at UA in Class 1A when he finally met him, the underground hero, his hero, Eraserhead. Azawa took a rare liking to the boy. There was something about him that resonated deep within Azawa. Maybe it was the fact that he called him out on that bullshit quirk assessment test. Of course, quirks such as those of Shinzo's would not help in a test like that. However, the boy took it a step further, challenging the underground hero to a one-on-one for exemption. Amused, Azawa accepted and was promptly beaten. Shinzo knew how to fight. He had to in order to survive the foster care system. His mother channeled her new son's skills through her police training. This led Shinzo to be loved by her precinct. He became one of their own, and they pretty much put him through the academy's entire course before he even took the UA entrance exam. However, tragedy was not far behind. The day of the Shie Hisakai raid. In a flash, Shinzo's world was taken from him. Mom? Mom? Shinzo just stared at the ruined cement wall that was now stained and dripping with the warm blood splashed upon it. Mom, where are you? We gotta go. Digging himself out of the fallen debris, Azawa had borne witness to all this. He watched as he saw the boy touch the cement wall, calling out for his mother. His heart broke as he saw his student fall to his knees as the cruel reality that just transpired hit him like an unforgiving tempest. Before Azawa could get to the boy, he saw him stand. Something was off. Understood, was all Azawa heard his student say. As he drew closer, he saw Shinzo look up at his mother's killer battling one Izuku Midoriya. Azawa watched as suddenly Shinzo was frantically looking around. The boy's eye then narrowed. He spotted something. In the blink of an eye, Shinzo took it and headed towards the battle. At that moment, Midoriya had finally knocked Overhaul to the ground. Azawa then saw his favorite student seize the moment. "Hey!" Shinzo shouted, getting the head of the Shie Hasakai's attention. As soon as Shinzo caught the whites of Overhaul's eyes, he fired the dart gun he took. The round hit Kai Chisaki, who foolishly thought nothing of it, due to the nature of his quirk. However, a rush of pain ran throughout his body. As quickly as the pain came, it left, and now Overhaul felt off, like he was now missing something. "Oh no, Shinzo!" Azawa called out as the boy threw the dart gun aside and launched his own capture weapon that the underground hero made for him. "Shinzo!" Back at the present. "You bastard!" Much like that day, Azawa launched his capture weapon at Plague Raven. His arms were still active, going into battle mode. Plague Raven's arms then reformed into tentacles. They battled the capture weapon away, only for them to return to their original arm formation. Oh shit. Plague Raven's arms were still functional, but Azawa had pulled his detonator's trigger. No matter. Bring it, hero! So Azawa did. He launched the other end of his capture weapon at the metal-armed man. Plague Raven caught it and pulled Eraserhead towards him, readying his other arm to strike. The former crime boss cocked his arm back. However, Azawa was ready for this. Using the momentum from his target capturing his weapon, Eraserhead leaned to the left, swinging wide and pulling at the same time. When he landed behind Plague Raven, the centrifugal force caught up to the former crime boss. The capture weapon then pulled his target off his feet, slamming him into the side of the Havoc. Azawa then wasted no time when he saw his target bounce off the vehicle and into the underground hero's waiting Spartan kick. Chisaki's sternum cracked and his ribs fractured, causing all the wind to be knocked out of him. "I will never forgive you!" Aizawa's emotions were running high as he struck Plague Raven with a right cross, sending his mask flying. A left jab to the body, and both men heard a rib or two snap upon impact. "For what you did to him!" A left hook straight to the left side of Plague Raven's face. "For what you took from him, you sick fuck!" Flesh and bones seemed to mesh together with each and every one of Aizawa's strikes, kicks, and elbows. Every attack filled with all of the man's hatred, anger, sorrow, and pain. Chisaki could not even begin to defend himself from the sheer ferocity, strength, and speed of his attacker's moves. Suddenly, with one last strike, Eraserhead was then launched back and away from Plague Raven. When the underground hero landed, he was captured and was now being held by his worst nightmare made reality. Fear gripped Aizawa's mind as he looked up to face the creature that put him in a variable body cast, the USJ Nomu. Greetings, hello everyone, the Gentle Criminal here. My dearest Labrava has hacked the system so I can bring you a wonderful advertisement. Before we get back to the video, I'd like to talk about our new channel, Celestia, a channel dedicated to all things Dungeons & Dragons. Ooh, how whimsical. Currently, we have a series breaking down the different spells in D&D, and soon we'll be starting some new series as well. So if you're a fan of D&D, or have an interest in learning about it, check it out. I think my wonderful Labrava and I could enjoy some campaigns together. Who is with me? Anyone? No. Additionally, if there is something you've always wanted to see get made into a video, head over there and leave a comment mentioning it. That is it for now, so ta-ta, let's get back to the video. No, Aizawa said with fear in his voice. He was being restrained by the USJ Nomu. He let out a scream as he tried desperately to break free from the monster's fortress-like embrace. His mind flashed back to the USJ, how this monster mercilessly beat him, and the realization of how fragile his own mortality truly was. Back with Plague Raven, he fell to the side as Pretty Bird caught him. He spotted the hero and Plague Raven engaging in a scuffle. He simply figured that it was just Plague-Raven getting his comeuppance. However, as he drew closer, he saw Buzzard down as well. That was a bad omen. It all came to a head when he saw Eraserhead go ballistic after slamming Plague-Raven into their vehicle's trailer. The hero was out for blood, and Eraserhead was going to terminate Plague-Raven with his bare hands. Well, can't have that, so Pretty Bird literally sprung into action. My God, dear boy, what did you do to him? Pretty Bird was aghast at the condition his compatriot was in. So this is how I die. Plague-Raven wheezed, then coughed in a low chuckle. Serves me right. I killed this boy's mother. You did what? Suddenly it all made too much sense for Pretty Bird. Not his real son, God, might be for all I know. Plague-Raven felt his world fading as he wheezed again, followed by more coughing and laughing. During the raid, I thought I just killed some random pig. Turns out I was wrong. Hold on, I'll get you inside. Plague-Raven just looked up at Gentle Criminal. Why was he even a villain? The proper villain propped his compatriot up. Plague-Raven continued to wheeze in an unimaginable pain, then nodded, and pointed to his scars on the right side of his face. This boy did this to me. One strike. He also was the one who removed my quirk. To his own surprise, Plague-Raven smiled at his memory. With my own product. Imagine that. Pretty Bird had now gotten Plague-Raven inside the Havoc. Lucky for both of them, the trailer had medbots. They unburdened Pretty Bird and took over as soon as Plague-Raven was laid upon the bench. Oh, the irony, the proper villain muttered. He then hid his calm. Milady, please come in. Lady Nagant was in her office, going through it with a fine-tooth comb. She had already found 3 of the Shadow Broker's bugs, which she then immediately eliminated. She cursed the fat stubby bastard's name with each and every one she terminated. It was then that an alert went off, followed by a call from Gentle Criminal. Lady Nagant checked the alert. Plague-Raven was reading critical. Fearing the worst, she took in a hesitant breath and answered the proper villain's hail. Pretty Bird, what's going on? Her voice was leveled, but Pretty Bird could tell she was boiling with emotion underneath. Sit, Rep. Milady, it doth seem that we was sent an incendiary device, as it were. Pretty Bird was trying to be delicate with his words, for he still did have a bomb in his head. Lady Nagant did not have time for this. Spare me the metaphors. As you wish, my lady. Pretty Bird then cleared his throat. You sent us a raving lunatic that just knocked out the buffoon and nearly killed Plague-Raven. Lady Nagant was not liking her update as she rubbed her temples. Did you know Plague-Raven murdered his boy's mother? Lady Nagant froze in place, standing firmly at attention, as flashes of Plague-Raven's dossier were brought to the front and center of her mind. She screwed up. Lady Nagant swallowed the lump of fear in her throat. She had just compromised the mission. It was at this moment Lady Nagant knew she fucked up, and the warden was not going to be too happy about it either. Right in front of the child! Can you imagine? Every one of Gentle Criminal's words were like a high-caliber bullet, striking every one of her vital areas. He was like a man possessed. Raven is in shambles. Fuck! Lady Nagant's mind was screaming at her. She knew better than to send Azawa, goddammit! Why did she do something so fucking idiotic? She had read the file and saw the news, the boy, and what he did to Plague-Raven. Aizawa was there. He bore witness to it all, with a front row seat. She had to come up with something fast. Where is he now? It was the only thing that came out of Lady Nagant's mouth. Pretty Bird then told her that he was being restrained by the Nomu. The warden's assistant's eyes widened as her mind was screaming like a banshee. Fuck! Lady Nagant had truly shit the bed on this, as more and more expletives berated her mental faculties. She had sent a literal powder keg to Team 1. Buzzard's attack on Aizawa's class in the forest, Pretty Bird trying to break into the school he taught at, all for shits and giggles and internet cred. The icing upon the proverbial fecal delicacy of a cake? Pairing him with the murderer of his apprentice's own mother. Fuck. Get the Noma in the trailer now. Just say my name and it will listen. Lady Nagant's words were filled with venom. Before you even ask, yes, with the Eraserhead in tow. Pretty Bird followed her orders post-haste, calling out to the Nomu. Using Lady Nagant's name, he told it to bring Eraserhead with him and to not let him go. Within moments, the Nomu was in the trailer, and Lady Nagant was on the monitor. Azawa had already stopped struggling once he realized that the Nomu was simply restraining him as per protocol. Azawa then turned his gaze to the monitor. Mr. Azawa, let me first apologize. Azawa cut her off curtly and without mercy or courtesy. The intruder. This creature restraining me. Muscular. Azawa's words grew darker and more sinister with each one of his points. Lady Nagant was silent as she saw Eraserhead gather up every ounce of killing intent he had as he turned his head towards Plague-Raven. And to top it all off, my protege's mother's murderer! Pretty Bird leapt back, stumbling over the ATV and pouring out into the back seat. Robin suddenly appeared, his weapons drawn due to sensing Aizawa's wrathful aura. Eraserhead then snapped his neck back towards him. Oh, let's not forget this little addition too. The hero killer himself, Stain. Lady Nagant was trying to form words when Azawa returned his gaze back to her. This was your idea of a sick joke, you harlot! Lady Nagant's eyes widened. She did not know why, but the hero's use of the word harlot to describe her person ate at her very core. Now listen here! Once again, Aizawa silenced her. Shut the fuck up and you listen to me. Aizawa had it. I would have been willing to work with the rest, but you failed to inform me of that murderous bastard being involved. Lady Nagant was shaking with utter rage. How dare this man speak to her in such a manner? Where is he? Pretty Bird and Robin looked at Azawa, then back at Plague-Raven in confusion. Who was he? Plague-Raven was right there. Lady Nagant took a breath as Azawa narrowed his eyes. I know you know. Tell me, or kiss your little Operation Goodbye after I terminate Plague-Raven and walk. Lady Nagant clenched her fists. Though Eraserhead was restrained, she knew he was completely serious. I doubt the warden would like his little profit maker over there biting the big one so soon, especially after investing so much on his upgrades. Los Angeles. Rappa is in Los Angeles, California. Lady Nagant gave in to the pro-hero's demands. After Shinzo took down Kaichisaki, Rappa Kendo, Hojo Yu, and Katsukame Rikiya had escaped custody and successfully fled to America. Well, all except Rikiya, who served as a distraction to aid the others. To Shinzo, they were all involved with his mother's murder. It was why he was in America, specifically Detroit, Michigan. Hojo Yu was there. The true mastermind behind the Shie Hasakai's mission had been Rappa the whole time. He played the muscle-bound meathead well. No one was the wiser till Plague-Raven sang. Now Aizawa had the information he needed. He could now bring justice to his young protege and his mother. Release him, Nomu, Lady Nagant ordered, much to the horror of everyone around Aizawa. You have what you want. The choice is now yours. I won't stop you, but the Nomu will retire you if you touch Plague-Raven. Aizawa landed on his feet, then straightened his uniform fatigues. What's the true meaning behind this mission? At his words, Lady Nagant briefed him fully on their situation beyond just curious as capture and the actual goal. The goal was to thin out the League of Villains' ranks. The warden knew fully well of the bug and the flies. Lady Nagant only found this out when the phone rang in the warden's office. It was Tartarus's ruler on the other end. He was already aware of what she was doing currently in his office. He then spelled it out for her. Things were escalating faster than the warden would like. the League of Villains and the MLA needed to be culled, and Curious was going to make this all possible, whether she liked it or not. Azawa took it well. You are all out of your goddamn minds. 3 hours later, Tim and Lance had returned to pick up Plague Raven after they restocked the medical supplies in the Havoc. They booked it back to Tartarus. Bad Company soon loaded back up and were on their way to Daika City to complete their objective. Azawa had elected to toss all of them into the back of the trailer while he drove alone in the front cab. The hollow emitters of the Havoc were back online and recalibrated to withstand whatever the hell type of jammer the MLA had used on them. Daika City was not a large city by any means. It was roughly about the same size as Musatafu. The only difference being it had a lot more skyscrapers and was littered with MLA propaganda. Even though there was no specific anti-quirkless target types, it was heavily implied throughout the MLA's artistry. Azawa felt sick as he drove through the city. He already saw several crimes against those with weak or heavily mutant-type quirks. However, the worst of which were down alleyways. People were hung or literally nailed onto the buildings were the quirkless. There were marks carved into their flesh, a Q with a circle and a diagonal slash going through it. Aizawa had to fight every instinct within him not to stop the vehicle and unleash his wrath upon the MLA soldiers patrolling throughout the city. If the gambit proved successful, then it would deliver a far more crippling blow to this hate group than taking out a few random patrols ever would. It was then that Bad Company had reached its destination. Scanning their forged cards, the gate arm raised, allowing them entry into the Channel 6 underground garage. And that's our video for the day, so thank you all for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it. Now before I go, a little bit of housekeeping I want to go over with you all. First, if you want more great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Second, on behalf of We the Celestials, I also want to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Give some love to the writer, the audio editor, and the video editor. They do a lot of amazing work here. And finally, if you're interested in what we do here with the Celestials, then I want to extend an invitation to join our team. We only have one caveat: you must be 16 years or older to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fills your interests by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. That's it for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have an amazing day. And as always, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and stay awesome. This has been Tim, Mustache out.